Sorry about that delay. My name is Lucy Wren, and I'm a first-year master's student. Apologies. Jordan and I are success coaches, and our role is to help you identify a pathway to success across different areas, optimize opportunities, connect you to resources, and enhance your Wisconsin experience. If you could use some assistance in building skills such as goal setting, time management, organization, academic strategies for success, financial wellness, or mental health, among so many other things, please reach out to us today. Our email will be on the next slide. Success coaching is just one aspect of success services. Our range of resources also includes basic needs support, which works to provide essential support to students, such as assistance securing food, housing, and insurance. Additionally, we have our workshop series, which covers a diverse set of topics designed to enhance individual success. Finally, we have our mentorship piece, which provides an opportunity for peer-to-peer mentoring. If you're interested in any of the resources Success Services provides, you can use the email on this slide to reach out to us today.
Okay. Our space is located at East Campus Mall, but for now, we are also available virtually. Basic needs coordinators and success coaches are available to meet with you through video chat or over the phone. Visit our website located in the bottom left of the screen to set up a meeting with us today.
All right, so back to our workshop, Avoiding Virtual Burnout. While we're totally aware of the irony of having a virtual workshop on avoiding virtual burnout, the purposes of this presentation are to help you support your well-being by giving you tips on thriving in the virtual environment going forward. That said, grab a snack, turn off your camera, and put your feet up. We'll spend this time discussing how to set boundaries, give your brain needed breaks from the virtual world, and develop habits for a healthy lifestyle. First and most importantly, how are you doing right now? Please feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat and share. But I'm also going to send a poll for those who wouldn't like to elaborate. It's going to be on a scale of 1 to 7, with 1 being the absolute worst day, 4 being average, and 7 being the very best day. I'm sending that poll right now. Just give me 1 second to make sure that we've got it all set up correctly. Oh, and my apologies. It's going to be a scale of 1 to 5. So 5 being the very best day, 1 being a not so great day. All right, so we've got some variance in our group today. A couple people a little bit lower on the scale, and one person having just an absolutely fabulous day. So that is awesome to hear. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. It can be tough to remember because it's felt like such a long year and like this is just how things are now, but this is not normal. And it's been really hard in a lot of different ways. From the pandemic to the movement against systemic racism and then a divisive election, this year has been, and by year I mean the past 12 months, not just 2021, has been attacking our health on all fronts. In other words, it's okay to feel weird right now. The world is super weird. In this presentation, we're going to focus specifically on how extended virtual schooling and work may lead to burnout. But you might find that some of our suggestions are helpful in other areas where you're feeling stress or anxiety.
So before we dive into strategies to avoid burnout, let's talk about how to recognize these feelings in the first place. We're going to take a few minutes to talk through the 3 questions on the slide as a group. You can simply unmute or type your answers in the chat, but if you would like to prefer to remain anonymous, I'm passing around a link in the chat now that will take you to a Google slideshow. Click on the link and type your answers in the corresponding slide. You can type in the same text box as the example, but it works best if you create your own text box. The questions are, How are you managing with virtual environment? How do you recognize when you're feeling burnt out? And my apologies if you can hear the train behind me. Imagine hearing it at 5 in the morning. And what sorts of things do you notice yourself doing or not doing? For instance, maybe you notice yourself mindlessly scrolling social media way more or talking or taking longer to complete work. Or maybe you have been snacking more and forgetting little things like to water your plants. You can answer one, some, or all, but we'll give about 3 minutes for this. Like we said, you are also more than welcome to simply type in the chat or unmute yourself. Yeah, Dora, that's super important, trying to take breaks when you can. Are you finding it more or finding it easier or difficult to take those breaks? I think it's safe to say that I think all of us have been bitten by the snack bug. So I'm with you, Dora, and I'm with you as well, Casey. All right. So thanks for sharing. The World Health Organization defines burnout as chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. The WHO characterizes burnout by three dimensions: feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, increased feelings of negativism or cynicism related to one's job, and reduced professional efficacy. Here are some other symptoms of virtual burnout: irritability, difficulty shutting your brain off, feeling overwhelmed, feeling impatient, loss of sleep, increased headaches, and eye fatigue from the increase in screen time. And I see that you also felt foggy too. So yeah, I'm quite with you, Dora. And I think that that feeling has pretty much permeated throughout the entire pandemic. But it's also been, I guess the silver lining, you know, for so many of us, we've been able to push through it and identify those moments where we needed to take an extra break or needed to take maybe even a day off in order to, sustain and push through it. So congratulations to you, Dora, for sticking it out.
All right, so like Jordan said, now that you have a better idea of signs of virtual burnout to look for, let's talk about ways we can overcome or avoid that virtual burnout. The single most important thing you can do for yourself to avoid virtual burnout is to set a schedule for yourself and stick to it. So I'm sending a poll right now, whether you currently keep a schedule or not. I'll give just a second longer for everyone to have a chance to answer that poll. It looks like right now, two of us definitely keep a schedule. I am definitely part of that. I would not be able to survive without my schedule in front of me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end that poll and we'll keep moving along here. So keeping a schedule is a little more complicated as a student than for someone who, for instance, works 9 to 5, but it can still be done. What makes it complicated is that rather than that block of 8 hours from 9 to 5 of work and then the uninterrupted block of time away from work, you might have classes spanning 12 hours with those free blocks taking place throughout the day. Or that set schedule may look different every single day. To help visualize when you're quote unquote on the clock and when you're free, use a calendar, whether digital, paper, or even a dry erase wall calendar. Block out the time that you're working, which as a student would include classes, student jobs, and even time to do homework. Then stick to it. If you need help with where to start on making a schedule, check out our past workshops, Balancing School, Work, and Life, as well as Academic Integrity, Exploring the Virtual Classroom. One quick tip from those workshops: know your habits and your technology. If it always takes 10 minutes for your computer to fully boot up and be ready for class, or you know that you're always at your student job 15 minutes past your stop time because you always try to finish up that one last email, plan for this or plan to address it. Otherwise, you're always going to feel cheated out of some of your relaxation time, or you're always going to feel like you're running short on time to do your homework.
It's important to set what we'll call professional boundaries. These are actions you can take directly impacting work or school, and the ones listed here are really interconnected. The main thing is to set a schedule and stick to it. That means no checking your email or spending time on work projects during your free time. This means you will likely have to get comfortable with saying no. Now, while we do advocate for going the extra mile for your team or in school when you can, if you're busy or starting to recognize the signs of burnout, or even if this was supposed to be your one nice lighter work week and you were really looking forward to that, it's time to say no. Connected to this may take some time. Advocating for yourself and clearly communicating will certainly be necessary. For instance, if you set a boundary that you will not check your email after 5 p.m. until the next day, make sure you communicate that clearly to your team or even group project members. And if confronted on why you weren't responding to those evening emails right away, be ready to advocate for yourself. Especially right now, many people are much more understanding of work-life balance needs.
In order to give structure to your days, set some boundaries with yourself personally as well. Create morning and bedtime routines for yourself. Showering, washing your face, brushing your teeth, or brushing and styling your hair are all ways that you can take care of your personal hygiene every day. Also, be sure to get dressed in fresh clothes. Lots of people find it really helpful to get dressed in the same clothes that they would wear to work or school when they're working remotely. Try this for a day or two and see if it works for you. If not, we're all wearing comfy clothes during this time of virtual learning, but for the sake of giving your brain signals to differentiate sleep or relaxation time from work time, at the very least, change your clothes at the start of every day or whenever your quote unquote work time begins. You might also consider giving yourself a quote unquote commute by starting the day with a walk outside, even if it's just quickly around the block or to your favorite cafe to pick up a yummy treat for yourself at the beginning of the day. Lastly, try to keep your work area focused. Again, this is all about giving our brains environmental signals. If at all possible, your work area should be free, if only by a couple of feet, from other areas of your living space. Even something as small as a TV tray table and a small desk chair next to your couch, or the side edge of your dresser with a chair pulled up, can be effective workplaces. I've even heard of instances where folks have packed up the work clothes they aren't wearing right now and turned that open space in their closet with the doors open into the perfect little working nook. Just be sure whatever space you do create is strictly for work. As much as possible, try to do any relaxing, sleeping, and eating in different areas. For instance, I do my student jobs, schoolwork, and classes at my desk, and then I hang out on the couch while reading or watching TV.
Speaking of our workspaces, it's important to create a workspace that you're comfortable in. This is tough because the pandemic was initially an unforeseen emergency, so it's not like we had the chance to budget for purchasing a nice home office setup or even considered the need to work from home when signing our current leases. Still, many articles refer to the need to be comfortable in your workspace, so let's take a look at some low budget ways you can make your workspaces work for you. Think about your current workspace. Is it comfortable? Maybe it's right under an HVAC duct, so you constantly have heat or AC blowing on you. Or maybe your chair is painful on your back and hips. Maybe your desk is set too low, causing you to hunch over or simply get sore from sitting for so long. We're sending a poll now asking that question. Just answer yes or no. Is your workspace uncomfortable? right. So looks like there's a mix. Would anyone like to share more about what makes their workspace either comfortable or uncomfortable? Is it the chair? Is it the desk situation? What is it? The desk and chair for you? Is one set too high and one too low? I find myself constantly making adjustments to our second bedroom, which has been adapted to an office. So I'm always making little tweaks here and there, maybe adjusting the desk, that sort of thing. Yeah, chair's too big. Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, thanks for sharing. All right, so let's talk through some tips for refreshing your workspace. First, if at all possible, try to sit somewhere different from places you rest and relax, like what Lucy was mentioning earlier. So not the couch or the bed. Not only will you find a different place to sit, help your brain signals that it's time for work, but trying to work from a bed or couch does not support good posture. A chair will give more ability to sit up with your back and neck straight. That being said, good desks and chairs are pricey, but you could use just about any chair and buy an extra seat cushion or a lumbar support cushion, or simply fold a cushy blanket to lay over the back and on the seat of the chair. Try situating your workspace near a window or get a daylight lamp, again, to give your brain natural wakefulness signs. Research also suggests that greenery, such as succulents, herbs, or other plants, or even the versions of these little things, can help us feel happier and work more peaceful. Also, be sure to keep the space clean and separate from other things in your house. For instance, your desk chair should not also be your laundry chair, and your desk chair shouldn't be where all of your junk mail builds up. Keeping things clean and organized will give more focus and make the area feel less chaotic. Finally, be sure you have a comfortable pair of headphones. If your current pair of headphones causes your ears to ache just after one class, it might be time to invest in something more comfortable. There's a pretty good variety of styles, from soft-tipped buds to over-the-ear headphones at a wide variety of price ranges. And remember, for work or school purposes, they likely don't have to be the best sound quality, as long as they're comfortable and you can hear your meetings and lectures. In the same vein, if you notice yourself getting headaches or your eyes feeling strained, try a pair of blue light blocking glasses. You can get them with or without prescription lenses, and they may help alleviate some uncomfortable symptoms. Before we move on, does anyone else have any other quick tips for things that have helped them make comfortable remote workspaces in the past year? I've tried those cushions, and you are absolutely right, Lucy. They do wonders for your back and your overall posture. And also too, I'm spoiled by the fact that in the second bedroom I have a pretty good exposure to sunlight. So I haven't had to use the daylight lamp, but that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, Dora, that's a good idea too. My wife actually uses something to that. All right.
So we've been in this virtual environment dealing with the pandemic for just about a year now, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say we're exhausted. Now's the time to strip away any unnecessary work and just focus on what's most important. This will take some prioritizing, which we go in depth on in our past workshop, Balancing School, Work, and Life. The link to that presentation is on the last slide of this presentation, so we'll share that in just a little bit. One tip you can find in that presentation, along with a couple other different systems for prioritizing, is that we need to get rid of false urgencies. It's great to set goals for yourself, and even better if you can keep them. But if you're having to pull an all-nighter to finish a paper that's not due for another week, like you promised yourself you would, it might be worth it to remind yourself that that urgency is entirely self-made at that point. One other tip, go through your email and out all the subscriptions and newsletters, or send them to the other junk or promotions mailboxes, depending on which email service you use. Ask yourself when the last time you've actually opened and used an email from that sender about a sale at your favorite clothing store or about a newsletter from campus was. Anything you can opt out of, do so. Your brain will thank you when you're fielding far fewer incoming notifications, and you may even find it easier to set your phone aside for longer periods of time and give yourself those much needed screen breaks.
One of the biggest categories of things you can do to avoid virtual burnout is what we call stepping away. Right now, we're looking at screens more than ever, and as we've already talked about, this can cause physical and mental strain. Stepping away from screens from time to time is incredibly important, especially right now. When we're looking to relax or to procrastinate, we all have that temptation to pick up our phones and start scrolling. But in the vein of giving our eyes a break, remember this. When we look at our phones, it's really our brain saying, it's tired. Try closing your eyes for a moment instead, getting up to grab a snack or take a quick walk, or doing a quick mindfulness exercise. Taking a break from screens doesn't have to mean stepping away from your work. You could be intentional about scheduling the time you need to read physical textbooks in between time when you need to be on a screen. Or try leaving your phone behind when you go on a walk, or put it up to charge when you are eating lunch. You could also commit to larger blocks of time away from screens, such as cooking dinner or spending half an hour each night reading for pleasure, knitting, doing a puzzle, journaling, or any other pastime that gives your eyes a break. Whatever you choose to do, experts agree that at the very least, you should give your brain a break from screen time for at least 30 minutes before bedtime to aid falling asleep faster and having more restful sleep. Here are a few other suggestions to help you step away. First, take breaks. Build them into that schedule we were talking about earlier, whether for a mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack, or even just 5 minutes to go curl up on the couch and watch a funny video or call a friend. These breaks are really important to assuring that you don't burn out. Think of it this way. If you were at work or in class, you'd have breaks built in as you walk from classroom to classroom or as you stop to chat with a coworker about their weekend. Next, experts agree that you need to go outside. That's harder for this time of year in Wisconsin, but you can go for a quick walk or even just sit right outside of your building or house and do a quick mindfulness activity. Lastly, be sure to use your vacation time. I know, vacation time is a weird concept as a student, given that student jobs are often hourly and deadlines for schoolwork are ever present during the semester. However, as much as possible, when we do have holidays, do your best to give yourself at least an afternoon, if not a full day, completely off. It's important for your mental health to take these breaks and think about it this way. You'll be far more productive if you take regular breaks rather than burning out and being largely unproductive for a longer period of time. What are some other ways that you can step away? Is anyone in the middle of a good book or documentary or some sort of YouTube, or not YouTube, or it could be YouTube or Netflix binging that helps them step away for a while? I was just recently in a craft store and I was walking past the car section, like the die-cast models, and I used to build them as a kid. I was thinking about taking that hobby up again. Oh, walking your dog, yeah, Lucy, that's a good one. My dog is small and sometimes she doesn't like being in the cold. Oh, paint by numbers. That sounds good. I've seen ads for those. Those all sound like good ideas.
All right, so speaking of stepping away, let's take a few minutes now to try unwinding. I know this is weird to be trying to assist with stopping virtual burnout while in a virtual workshop, but we're going to be doing a meditation using the Headspace app. During this time, try dimming your screen as far as it'll go, or lower the screen as far as you can without putting your computer to sleep. Or just turn your computer or yourself around and put your head down so that you don't have the screen light distracting you during this mindfulness activity. All right, Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to Headspace. Hi, and welcome to Headspace. So no matter what's going on in your life right now, no matter how many thoughts are racing around your mind, no matter how the body's feeling, just take a moment to sit down and take a big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, a sense of taking in fresh air, the lungs expanding. As you breathe out, a sense of letting go of any stress in the body, in the mind, just feeling the muscles soften and relax. And close your eyes if you'd like to. One more. Breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just take a moment to pause. Allow the thoughts to come and go. And then just gently opening the eyes again.
All right. I hope that was helpful. Mindfulness can be really, really helpful in resetting your brain, especially during hectic or difficult moments. If you enjoyed this and want some more breathing techniques to try, I'm pasting a link in the chat now with a video that will guide you through different techniques. We won't have time to try them right now, but I highly recommend copying and pasting these links to give it a try later on. I'm going to put those in the chat in just a moment.
Right. This work is hard, and we don't have as much ability to let off steam in traditional ways, like a fun dinner out or going to the Badgers game with friends. Still, rewarding yourself can be a powerful way to stay on track and create drive even during these long days that might be running together. Find a few things that you look forward to and then use them as a reward after completing a big project or on a particularly tough day. You might try rewatching your favorite TV show, buying or making a special treat such as your favorite ice cream or some chocolate chip cookies, sending your favorite comfy clothes through the dryer so that they're nice and warm when you're ready to put them on, walking up to your favorite coffee shop to treat yourself, or spending time with a favorite hobby, like doing a puzzle, playing a game, knitting, coloring, journaling, or cooking. You could even turn your whole schedule into a system that gives you something to look forward to every day. For instance, Mondays could be the day that you treat yourself to coffee from your favorite cafe. Wednesdays could be takeout for dinner, or Fridays could be the day that you let yourself work from your couch rather than your workspace.
One of the hardest parts of this virtual environment is the lack of social interaction. There's no chatting with a friend on the way to class, catching up with your favorite professor in the hallway, or having the ability to have a whispered side conversation with a coworker if you accidentally zone out during a meeting. Combat the potential isolation by finding a virtual work buddy. Maybe you use Google Chat or Teams to quote unquote talk throughout the day. Be sure to check in on each other personally and then keep each other accountable for sticking to your work schedule or finishing your projects, whatever the case might be. Research shows that when we're accountable to someone, there's a greater chance we'll complete the task. So I'm sending a poll right now. Has anyone already tried the buddy system during the pandemic? All right, so it looks like most of us haven't had a chance to give that a try. I highly recommend it. Like I said, research shows that when we're accountable to someone, there's a greater chance we'll complete that work.
One final large category of advice before we start to wrap up, and it's a big one. Take care of yourself. Remember that schedule that we talked about making earlier? Be sure to sleep. Be sure sleep is a top priority. I know it seems tough, but it is possible. Next, go outside as often as you can. Again, being outside, especially in natural spaces, has lots of restorative properties. Even if it's just a quick walk around the block, try building in some break time to get outside. The last two are recommended all the time, but for good reasons. Exercise and eating healthy are key to taking care of yourself. Health experts recommend at least half an hour a day of moderate exercise, whether that's a walk, run, weightlifting, dance, yoga, or maybe even small bursts of activity. Say a quick exercise video on YouTube throughout the day. Recwell is offering a wide variety of programming right now as well. Click on the link in the slide to learn more. Lastly, eating healthy, especially right now with the pandemic keeping us more indoors and the long, dark winter months ahead, be sure you're eating plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. If you do need to speak with someone for mental health support, you can follow the link on the slide or call 608 265 5600 to connect with the University Health Services mental health support. If you need any assistance with the basic needs, such as food, housing, or insurance, you can reach out to the email on the screen and we'll connect you with one of our basic needs assistants.
Here are some other tips for avoiding virtual burnout. First, when you can, try switching to an actual telephone call or turn your video off. Part of what makes the virtual environment so tough is that by having video on all the time, people can see into our homes and that you're looking at your own face constantly, or being acutely aware of the fact that everyone else is looking at your face or feeling that way constantly. So during class, you might turn your video off or turn your video on rather, for the beginning or any community building time, maybe during breakout groups or whenever you share. But you could try keeping your video off during lecture or other presentations if the professor is okay with that. In normal settings, we never have to watch ourselves constantly or worry about what's going on in the background of our homes, and this can make keeping video on exhausting. In fact, as much as possible, reduce the stimuli and the urge to multitask while you're on that video call. You could try making the call full screen, or if you need to take notes next to that video call on your computer, try making sure instead that the notes are full screen, or use a different device for note taking. Or you could try again putting the call app and note taking app side by side, but make sure that those two together are filling up the whole screen. You might also consider turning off any notifications that pop up on your computer screen. This will give your brain less opportunities to find distraction. By focusing on only one or two windows tops, your mind will be less exhausted than if it were trying to juggle other multitasking, other screens popping up, notifications coming in, or even just anything going on in the background, such as seeing and wanting to respond to those pop-up notifications, seeing your dog running across the room with something they shouldn't have in their mouth, anything like that. Before we move on, does anyone have any other ideas or tips they can share that have helped them as far as avoiding virtual burnout?
All right, today we've covered a lot of different ways to make working from home in a virtual environment more comfortable and enjoyable. On the slide is a recap of all of the topics we covered. Are there any last minute questions, thoughts, or suggestions before we wrap up? Okay, you can always contact us at the email that we provided earlier, and we can connect with you and work with you one-on-one to answer any lingering questions or thoughts or concerns and help you create that pathway to success. Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank you. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead. Sorry, Jordan.
I'm sorry, Liz. Thanks for joining us today. We'll continue providing content that both supports your transition into an e-learning environment, as well as resources that work to help you develop different skills to address roadblocks on your pathway to success. I'm going to post a link in the chat now that will take you to our workshop library. Thank you, Lucy. All of our workshops have been recorded and PDFs have been made of the slides with our speaker notes. You can access the library at any time to learn more about the different resources and skill sets that you can apply to many areas of your life and within and beyond the classroom. Until next time, take great care.